presentation of the Gnostic Warrior. I'm your host, Mo, and today we're going to talk about Crowley Sex Magick. The extended title is on my website, gnosticwarrior.com, where I have an extensive article with the research called Demon Sperm. Crowley Sex Magick Rituals Bring Madness, Cancer, and the Apocalypse. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you might want to take your kids out of the room or turn this off if there's children nearby. I'm not going to get too graphic, but yeah, we're going to talk about some things in this special presentation podcast that may be a little queasy for some people and not good for children's ears as well. So let's begin. And again, thank you for tuning in. And I want to go ahead and share my screen with you all. Let's see here. Chrome tab. Okay, here we go. In the late 1800s, an Englishman known as the wickedest man in the world, Aleister Crowley, lived in an old mansion on Chancery Lane, London, where he had fashioned two temples for his magical operations. One was painted white and lined with 6 huge mirrors. The other altar was black man standing on his hands next to a skeleton that Crowley would feed from time to time with his sperm, blood, and that of small birds. The idea, Crowley stated, was to give it life, but I never got further than causing the bones to become covered with a vicious slime. As I said before, this is a world of ideas, both good and bad. In Crowley's case, his ideas were for a determined purpose, and that was to unleash demons, cancer, and hell upon earth. Did he exceed? Did he succeed, ladies and gentlemen? Stay tuned and let's find out. About a decade later, in late 1909, Crowley, with more experience and confidence, along with his disciple, Dr. Newberg, had made their way into the North African desert to perform a series of advanced ritual magic with homosexual acts. Today, this is commonly known as sex magic, or more appropriately, black magic sex. Newberg was a novice initiate in Crowley's magical order of the Silver Star. He was in awe of his master, whom he both loved and admired, so he was willing to do anything for who he called his holy guru. To him, Crowley's word was now law. Crowley had said that he immediately recognized in Newberg an altogether extraordinary capacity for magic and began to groom him for the benefit of the order and for himself. But he also thought Newberg's faddish, incurable, lazy, and lacking in self-discipline, as well as inhibited and nervous. Crowley's description of Newberg was, he was an agnostic, a vegetarian, a mystic, a Tolstoyan, several other things all at once. He endeavored to express his spiritual state by wearing the green star of Esperanto, though he could not speak the language, by refusing to wear a hat, even in London, to wash, and to wear trousers. Whenever addressed, he wriggled convulsively, and his lips, which were 3 times too large for him, and had put on hastily an afterthought, emitted the most extraordinary laugh that had ever come my way. To these advantages, he united those of both being extraordinarily well-read, overflowing with exquisitely subtle humor, and being one of the best-natured people that ever trod this planet. He was the perfect person for Crowley, who sought to fix his shortcomings by grooming his disciple with vigorous magical rituals, with prolonged physical exertion, combined with homosexual sex, and the subsequent semen deposited in his anus forming a magnetic chain between the two men, the secret key to anal black magic, sex, and mind control. Newberg was a meticulous record keeper who had written that Crowley, apparently a homosexual sadist. He performed the ceremony with obvious satisfaction, Newberg said. But the young man had taken an unholy vow of obedience to the great beast who was now dictating his every move. As Crowley had once written, some men are born sodomites. Some achieve sodomy, some have sodomy thrust upon them. In Newberg's case, he would be the latter of the three, hence sodomy was thrust upon him. On the 6th of December, 1909, Crowley and Newberg found themselves in the middle of the desert where they traced a magical circle in the sand for protection, inscribing it with the various sacred names of God, a triangle that was then traced nearby, its perimeters likewise inscribed with the divine names of Choronzon for the visible manifestation of the forces called up or evoked by Perabro. I don't know if I'm pronouncing those right, but forgive me. Crowley, dressed in his ceremonial black robe, sacrificed 3 pigeons and their blood placed at the triangle's 3 corners. At Crowley's command, the two entered the circle, and Newberg swore an oath to defend its inviolability with his life. Crowley, dressed in a ceremonial black robe, then made an astonishing departure from accepted ritual practice. While Newberg performed banishing rituals for protection holding the ceremonial dagger, Crowley made the call to the 10th ether. The goal of Crowley and Newberg with this black magic ceremony was to produce a notable demonic inhabitant of the abyss. Crowley claimed the mighty Choronzon announced himself with the shoe stone and a great cry, "Zazasas, Zazasas, Nastanda, Nazazasas," is what Crowley said. "I am I, from me come leprosy, and pox, and plague, and cancer, and cholera, and the fallingness. Ah, I will reach up to the knees of the Most High and tear his phallus with my teeth, and I will bray his testicles in mortar and make poison thereof to slay the sons of man." Crowley and Newberg would continue to perform various rituals over 2 weeks, writing extensively about their experiences. So, the question is, was Aleister Crowley successful? The homosexual sex magic event I speak about would go down in official history as the main ceremony to bring about the golden age of Satanism in the Western world. A self-proclaimed antichrist, Crowley evoked admiration and to this day even reverence as the de facto king of a liberal generation of a wayward youth and counterculture adults. It did not end well for Newberg to allow the great beast to have homosexual sex with him and direct his will. Those who knew him said that Newberg bore the marks of this magical adventure to the grave, and that Crowley was shattered psychologically and never recovered from the experience. Crowley's mother referred to him when he was younger as the Beast, a name that he would not only embrace, he would become. As he once said, "I believe that I was the Antichrist lips." His philosophy of free will is epitomized in his famous quote, "Do thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." Crowley's life was littered with many failures and left a trail of destruction when it came to the sexual relationships in his life, which included both men and women. 2 of his daughters both died young of an illness, and all of his relationships failed. If you are to study the unfortunate people to become sexually involved with a man, you will find insanity, suicide, and alcoholism in his evil wake. However, Crowley has greatly influenced 20th century practitioners of black magic, modern Satanism, and the music industry through both word and deed. In the 60s, there was a huge revival of interest in his life with the work thanks to rock bands like the Beatles, who adorned their Sgt. Pepper's album, John Lennon's choice, might I add, with the Beast. We all know what happened to him. while a short time later David Bowie went mad dabbling in Crowley magic as Ozzy and Black Sabbath wrote the song Mr. Crowley. Today we have people such as Marilyn Manson, who, in his own ways, is carrying the Crowley torch. As a result of the promotion of Crowley's unholy acts by some of the world's biggest bands and stars of his magical order, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and also the Book of the Law and Do Thou Wilt, there are now literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of practitioners of this magic that can now be found all throughout the Western world. Please let it be said that Do Thou Wilt shall be the whole of the law, and performing black magic often does not work out so well for the people who choose this lifestyle. All one has to do is study the historic trail of sex magic, demon semen, and broken souls to see the results of such choices. People like Bowie go mad and make claims as if they're falling into the bowels of the earth as they see demons. Ozzy openly becomes a hardcore drug addict and a babbling idiot for several decades who is laughed at on television as he and his family collect a check for their antics. Fast forward today, we have examples like Marilyn Manson, who have been accused by several women of rape, as his career and possibly his freedom may soon end as a result. You see, it never ends well. Even in Crowley's case, who died in a British boarding house of respiratory infection, penniless and addicted to heroin and alcohol, he was 72 years old. With that said, we can most likely state that he was not successful in his personal life, nor were his followers. But where Crowley was successful is helping spawn a whole generation of Crowleyites, both knowingly and unknowingly, who have unleashed a holy hell upon the earth. One of which most notable contributions to the modern Western world was his emphasis on liberal sexuality, both homosexual and heterosexual, and his black magic rituals that some Satanists, not all, emulate all around the globe. For example, in 2013, an ex-gay porn star who gave up his career in 1999 and became a Christian and author had come out of the closet the dangers of anal sex and the occult rituals. Joseph Sciambra has detailed the story on his blog and YouTube channel over the last decade, gaining worldwide media attention on his views against gay sex, the occult, and the porn industry. He cites Aleister Crowley in his theory, saying the devil that would be given to birth anally, not physically, more of a spiritual body. Many of Joseph's recent videos also oppose the Roman Catholic Church's modern views of homosexuality and acceptance of the LGBT community. He gives a long list of reasons not to have anal sex, claiming its connection to the devil. I do believe that it creates a doorway, literally, into the demonic, into the supernatural. I think it does release demonic entities. Let me add that Joseph had to have his sphincter sewn shut at one point. Maybe the great beast's black magic rituals and demon semen has helped bring the current apocalypse of cancer, sodomites, and plague Crowley had worked so hard for. Just this week, the American Medical Association said sex would be removed as a legal designation on the public part of birth certificates, sharing this flag. Yes, it's like that. I'm sure Crowley, the great beast, couldn't be more proud and is laughing in his grave. So there you have it. Thank you for tuning in, and this special presentation is actually my first one. I usually do a walk and talk. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is, if you guys have any questions, I'm going to see if I could go ahead and go over to Facebook and see some of those as well. So again, thank you for tuning in. If you're on Facebook, if you're not a member of the Gnostic Warrior community, that's probably the best place to ask questions. It's easier for me to go over there to the Gnostic Warrior community again, and I'm going to see what's up over there. Looks like I got about 18 people live. So sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Awesome. He was an asshole and a psycho. Sex cult. So Candace here says, Halloween 1984, they hooked me into the technology as I was raped with babies' heads crushed in front of me while I was... Holy shit. So, Candace, I'm sorry to hear about that. You're actually claiming to be a victim of this type of stuff. So, unfortunately, this is the type of thing that happens out there. So, again, I apologize, but this is one of the things that I wanted to do, this special presentation and bring it out there and see, how people would react, because again, a lot of people hold him up as a hero and as a cult figure, and a lot of people, a lot of children, unfortunately, are getting abused, and following this path where it's probably not the best path for them. So I'm going over here on YouTube to see if there's any questions, but again, there's none. Actually, I have some people here in the chat. Awesome. So thank you, YouTube viewers as well. So we got YouTube that I'm going live from, and also the Gnostic Warrior. So wow, the audio dropped out a couple minutes into it. That's interesting. So I wonder what's going on there. Let me see here. Check. Do you guys hear me now? Hello, check, check. That sounds like it's on now. So okay. Again, that's pretty much all I have for the presentation, everybody. So again, thank you for tuning in to this special edition of the Gnostic Warrior. What I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this and have a podcast version, which will be an audio-only version, was really kind of the goal with these, and also to share some of the research that I do that you guys don't see on YouTube or on Facebook in regards to my articles and the research. And again, this deals with, magic, sometimes the dangers of the occult, the dangers of magic. People don't understand when they play with this stuff. Some people might get drawn into it and not understand what they're getting into, because it's always painted as it's no big deal, and it's come over here and try this out, and it doesn't end well for a lot of people who choose this path, the left-hand path, Satanism or black magic. So again, that was kind of the purpose, to share some of these stories and give a different look at them as well. It's not to hold Aleister Crowley up as a hero, because he's definitely not a hero of mine. I do not follow his teachings. Actually, I've been repulsed from him all my life. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this special edition of the Gnostic Warrior. Please comment, like the video, share it. Let me know what you think. And again, thank you for tuning in. Take care.